Starting course in 3, 2, 1. Begin.
Damn it. Because I was trying to get it at an angle.
Course completed.
Let's see. Because I'm pretty sure that if you do it, it does put your name on there. Well, yeah, look at that. 23.28 seconds. Fuck y'all. I win. Alright, anyway. Time to go see the lab. But yeah, so I feel like they definitely could have done that ending better. Not only that, they the game is split into different regions with a stronghold in each region, right? And the first two, and is this the lab or is this? Do I need the axe? Oh, that's lab. And each region has sub-regions in it, and has obviously the person who
Need to find the card.
who controls the region with the stronghold, and that's the guy that you help for throughout that region, right? And then wait, what was that? Harden's Dynasty Bard. Oh, clearly, I was here before. Okay, so that must have been the first door that I came across. I've had the reader on it, and as you do stuff in the regions, like take out bases or take down their scarecrows, their sniper towers, whatever, right? It lowers the threat level in the region, and eventually you can wipe it out. But each sub-region has its own threat level, and then there's an overall threat level. Lowering it unlocks upgrades and other stuff for you. What did that hit? But yeah, it unlocks other stuff for you, including missions. That also unlocks Wasteland encounters, which are mostly useless, but some of them do give you a little bit of scrap. Usually like 50 scrap, but still. And
What was that? There you are.
What?
Who's there?
I think Piper's shooting at you. Dumbass.
Oh, you're still here?
Keep firing!
Dumbass.
Better in our hands anyway.
But yeah, so like the each region has sub-regions and whatnot, and then yada yada, right? But the final region, and all of them have 5 levels of threat, right? Which determines like how many patrols there are, basically. It doesn't really change anything about the patrols themselves. How far you are in the game changes the patrols. Like as you do the main missions, you'll end up with guys that patrols in that they're like higher armor and whatnot, right? Testing schedule, closed for maintenance, prep lab first. Okay, so that doesn't really tell us anything. Guidelines, invalid. Okay. Misspelled private. If your name is not Rohit or James, then butt out. 15:34 hours, I was able to mess up this scheduling program. The system won't expect us to test anyone after lunch for a few days. If you're right about the Overseer having helpers, I don't think anyone's noticed. Anyway, this will give us some time to get things ready without prying eyes. You can leave me messages on this terminal too if you need. Should be pretty secure now. We can start smuggling ammo in here. Nobody should find out if we're pinching a bullet or two at a time from the range. Still need to figure out a good fuse, but it'll take us a while to get enough gunpowder smuggled in from the range before that matters. What do you think we're up against anyway? Worst case, all the superiors we've ever seen graduate. That's not comforting. I really doubt it, though. I'm almost positive they've just got geeks up there, maybe even just robots. Depending on the robots, it might take the up top grads. Yeah, I'm not worried though. There can be as many of them as there are of us, and they're basically training us to be able to overpower them. We won't know until we know, I guess. I guess we're going to know real soon. James, have you thought about what we should do with the little kids? If we hit the door during nap, they should be safe. We should still make sure everyone pushes forward as much as possible. I hope that'll work. We should probably have a few stay behind just to keep an eye on them. Good idea. We can trust Alma, right? Why don't you talk to her during her testing appointment tomorrow? Then she's in. Okay, so they were obviously overthrowing the vault because they figured out what they were doing. So good for them. I imagine we'll find out how it went. But yeah, so as for Mad Max, the final area has one region that's the same size as a single sub-region in the other ones. It's very small. It's a very annoying place to navigate. It's hard to explain. If you played the game, you would know though, or you would agree that it is definitely a very shit place to navigate. What is this one? Researcher's Terminal. All right, well, let's see what's around here first. And it just seems very much tacked on, where it's like kind of like they needed something for there, like they needed to have an outpost there for some reason. And so they're like, all right, let's put one there. So like every stronghold has a number of... Oh, there's some monkey up there I grabbed. Has a number of projects that you can build that have like, oh, if you build this project, every time you enter it, they'll refuel your vehicle for free, your gas tank, they'll refill your food, your water, whatnot, right? Which is all good, but like all the rest of them, right, has like sometimes there'll be like a mission to up or to build the one. Sometimes you'll need like 2 or 3 parts from different scavenging locations to do one. That one, there are no bases in the region, and every project built that doesn't have a quest attached to it only requires 1 part to build. It's very much a tacked on place. All right, aerobic aptitude. This station exists to measure and increase aerobic ability and cardiovascular health of test subjects. As the treadmill operator, adjust incline and speed to reach and sustain target rate in the subject. Once target rate has been sustained for 60 seconds, gradually increase duress until peak heart rate has been reached or exceeded. We don't want it to be exceeded. Age, less than 8. Minimum heart rate is 106. Target is 170. Optimal max is 212. Good God. Give them fucking heart attacks. And then it goes down as you go up. Unacceptable if they have cardiac arrest or death. Well, no shit. Acceptable: muscle strain, nausea, vomiting, loss of consciousness. Well, loss of consciousness shouldn't have been. Muscle strain is obviously going to be acceptable. It's a test. It's a physical test. You're going to have muscle strain. Nausea and vomiting seems weird, though. I feel like you're definitely pushing them too hard if they're getting into vomiting part. Let's see, Nina. Nina won't believe it. I'm actually on the research team. We always thought some grown-ups must stay in the vault to help the Overseer run things, even if we never saw them. I was right. Not everyone has to go to the outside world. They said I'd do more good here, and I couldn't be happier. I wish there was some way she could know I'm still here, yet still able to watch her. She'll graduate in 2 years. Maybe they'll put her on the research team too if her scores are high enough. It's only been a few months since graduation. I already feel so much more mature than the kids I'm monitoring every day. Rohit and James both still talk about taking over the vault. Like they think nobody's listening. Robbie and Becca still sneak off to huff propellant. We see that too. They'll never make it onto the research team like I did. I'm just glad I can still keep an eye on Nina. She's not doing too great on her scores, though. She was never much of an academic like me. Her physical scores are among the best in the group, though. I'm sure she'll graduate to a good team for up top. I just hope I can see her before she goes up top. So wait, was this written No, Nina won't believe it, so I was buying it. Supervisor Bissell lost some papers from his clipboard this morning. He was pretty anxious about it. He'd spent most of the morning searching for them, then pulled me aside to get me looking for them while he went to meet with the overseer. He really doesn't want anyone to know they went missing. Turns out they got sucked into a vent. I could hear the pages flapping in there. There's no way I can get them unless I were to go downstairs, but I saw Rohit fish them out of the vent down there first. I'm going to tell Bissell I couldn't find them. The range is really getting run down. I've asked the overseer whether we can have some supplies brought in to help refurbish it, but was told we should work with what we've got. Then she reminded me it wasn't even my station. I didn't think it would be a big deal to have her ask the up-top graduates to bring supplies, but I guess they're really busy and there's always some risk involved with her going outside. Maybe she'll ask at next year's graduation when she takes the new graduates through the surface door. So, I mean, we still don't know what they're doing up there. Like, we don't know that they're actually sending them outside to do anything, right? Or if they did, even when they were sending them out. I mean, like, clearly the gunners have taken over this place. So, I mean, it's entirely possible that all of these files are from, like... Oh my god. Are from, like, way back when, you know. That was brutal. Fucking execution right there. Hey, there's the admin access card. That's good. Okay, so is this basically like little lamplight?
Bingo.
There's science bobblehead. Get one extra guess when hacking terminals. Alright. Well, I mean, could be worse. It's not horrible. It's not like amazing or anything, but you know, whatever. Would have been neat if there was like a terminal up there that could alter the training course, and they had like different scenarios loaded up. Right? I mean, to be fair, there could have been, and then, you know, it got destroyed with the rest of them. But... all right, let's explore the admin area.
Who's there?
I'm here. Wow. Good God, she took very little damage until she died. Now I need the right arm now, right? I got the right leg, I just need the right arm. No, I got the right arm, and I needed the right leg. So there we go, now we got full sturdy combat armor. So I'll probably upgrade and equip that after. See what the chief scientist says. Prime directive, here we go. Welcome to Vault 75 as outlined in your confidential briefing packet. Vault 75 is part of a top secret military program. You have been selected for your professional credentials, experience, and commitment to the improvement of the human genome. It is of the utmost importance that you follow the protocols herein. So it's a eugenics one. The mission of Vault 75 above all is the refinement of human genetics. Your scientific staff will operate according to the research schedule set forth by Schlett, Braun, and Lamb. You will be working with an overseer with a background as a military officer. Your overseer will be responsible for training and maintaining the subject population you will be working with. It is important that you and your overseer maintain a healthy working relationship. Didn't really give you a prime directive. Vault 75 represents an unprecedented opportunity to test our hypothesis that the human genome can be improved at a rapid rate through the combination of selective breeding, hormonal treatments, genetic modification, and an accelerated generational cycle. The experimental objectives of Vault 75 are detailed in the handbooks which have been provided to you already. The experiment is intended to be carried out over multiple generations. As such, there may be unanticipated research opportunities that present themselves. Such diversions from provisional protocol are permitted at the discretion of the chief scientist. Because Vault 75 represents a long-term experiment in a closed environment, it will become important to replenish staff periodically. This shall be done by selective recruitment of outgoing subjects. We anticipate a certain percentage of resident population to exhibit high intellect scores, but insufficient physical capabilities to be qualified for genomic harvesting. These subjects may be, at overseer and chief scientist discretion, offered the opportunity to join staff. Those who refuse should be disposed of in the same manner as unqualified outgoing subjects. Please note that all internally recruited staff should be kept strictly separate from general population for at least 15 years to prevent members of the general population recognizing former residents among the staff. Only the most trusted and capable staff members should be admitted to the genomics lab. It is the responsibility of the chief scientist to very carefully choose these staff members and ensure they are sufficiently trained for their roles. Alright, so yeah, it's super soldier program. More specifically than just a eugenics program, because a eugenics program would be overall best best human condition, but this one here seems to be more specifically trying to target best possible physical, where it's like, hey, these guys are smart but not physically. Good. Let's see. Outgoing subjects aged 18 years with aggressive scoring of superior or excellent across key physical, mental, social traits must be escorted to the genomics lab. Processing should be done on an individual basis and with great care. Remember that successful subjects will likely be capable of overpowering staff. Reiterate to the subject that a brief round of vaccinations is necessary and avoid arousing any suspicions otherwise. Each subject should have a file for processing which indicates which specific organic material needs to be preserved for future testing. Be sure that these directions are strictly adhered to and that specimens are stored quickly. Showing records for most recent graduation reports. Okay. Overall harvest was exceptional this year. Lots of superior ratings in the physical categories. Many of our vital organ initiatives are paying dividends. Pain thresholds have been a mostly solved problem for years now, and we're finally getting past issues like cardiac arrest under heavy duress. The genetic material we're gaining this year should help the next generation meet goals we thought were still a decade or more off. Some concerns about aggression levels. We've had a few cases of psychological breakdowns due to stress over the years, but incidence was much higher in this group. Going to recommend we synthesize some new tranquilizers just to stock up. Food supply remains best delivery method for general population, but should be concerned about future with science staff too. Only needed one recruit to scientific staff this year, with Washington joining the genetics team to help me out up here. Subject's physical scores were very low, and he has consistently shown good problem-solving and critical thinking. Overseer has concerns about his attachment to some of the younger members of the population. I'm not too worried. His psychological profile shows that he's very suggestible. We'll keep him on the observation deck long enough for those he had personal relationship with to graduate out of the population. That gives us some time to acclimate him to the experimental protocols without conflict. We just need to keep him in the dark until then. We have very low disposal overhead thanks to the excellent harvest ratio this year, just 74% of the overall graduating class. Incinerations will be done within the week. Good first task for Washington before we begin the real work. Archive corrupt. Alright, so here's my issue with this, right? So they start with a school full of kids, and I'm guessing based on what we found so far, that the parents who got escorted somewhere else all got killed. They're all just fucked, right? They wanted to keep the kids so that they could train them, get their bodies prepared so that they could become super soldiers, right? Like that was their end goal, was to create super soldiers. They're disposing of 74% of the population in one graduation, and that wasn't considered bad. Which presumably means that they're disposing of more than 74% otherwise. Now, I don't know about you, but the birth rate, if you're disposing of 74% and you're keeping it, like, I don't know what kind of genetic modifications they're capable of, but to prevent, inbreeding genetic defects in that, I do, because I looked this up at one point, so I knew how big of a population I would need for some stuff in my books. And I do believe that the population requirements, it's like, with very high levels of control over who breeds with who, I think you can do it with like a population of 50 and maintain and grow a population from that with minimal to no genetic defects from inbreeding that. But if you're killing 74%, right? Like, you're going to have a few hundred kids at best in here. And I mean, you're killing them at 18, apparently, which means that any of them I feel like this is a vault where they made it and it's like, man, this would be fucked up, right? And it's like, yeah, but they also wouldn't make it more than a couple years doing that because they would end up running out. I mean, like, they would have to have such a Oh, what is this? It's an advance. Like, they would have to have such a high birth rate in order to keep the population high enough to actually last any kind of significant amount of time. Like, this vault should have been done for, like, so quickly based on that. Like, especially since, like, they're being bred to be, like, super soldiers and that, right? Like, you would think that it's like, okay, that's fine. Have them be doing that, but having them kill them at 18 just seems... It's the same problem I have with Little Lamplight in Fallout 3.
Last mistake.
Which is, you know, population. You know, like, how does this keep up, right? Because, I mean, they all get kicked out once they're 18, and they go to Big Town. And even if the ones at Big Town were to have kids and send them to Little Lamplight to be raised, which would be a weird choice, there's only like a handful of people at Big Town. So that's a master log save. I can open it, but I'll wait and see if I don't have to. Alright. Personnel officers are responsible for main residence and obeying standard protocol for sanitation and scans. Research staff is to assist as needed, but otherwise remain in their wing. Adults aged 17 and older will be isolated and disposed of by the head of security. So like I said, all the adults immediately got killed. Children under the age of 17 are to be taken directly to the atrium area. As overseer, you are responsible for introducing the children to the caretaker robots and their sleeping facilities. Research protocols will not begin until the second week of containment. It is recommended that you participate directly in routine story times each evening. Vault 75 have been built within the township of Malden, and all families of children aged 5 to 16 have been offered subsidized admittance to the vault program here. This should maximize the number of residents able to report for admittance in a crisis event. In the event that it becomes necessary, it is preferable to allow potential subjects to remain with their families in the bulkhead area over allowing adults to accompany subjects to the atrium. These subjects will not be admitted to the general population. Some distress is expected in the early days of internment. Please revert to Vault-Tec's childcare consolation protocols if guidance is needed. Personnel and security staff have been assigned to Vault 75 and provided with standard instructions as found in your operations manual. Research personnel are to remain in their designated wing and isolated from making physical contact with residents except under special circumstances. New research personnel may be selected annually from the Vault population at overseer discretion. Residents are to be informed that these persons have vacated the vault. Residents age 18 or older must be removed from the general population annually. Residents who have exhibited genetic promise are to be preserved for genome harvesting and reintegration. See, though, it says reintegration there. So reintegration into what? Residents of average genetic promise but high intelligence and docility may be recruited to the research staff at overseer discretion. All other residents to be removed must be culled. So kill all the weak ones. Research staff is responsible for cultivating embryo replacements to maintain consistent resident population numbers. Vault 75 is to remain sealed until an all-clear order is issued by Vault-Tec. Alright, so it's responsible for cultivating embryo replacements to maintain consistent resident population numbers. So I'm assuming then that some of the genomes that they're harvesting from these people would be eggs and semen, right? So then they're fertilizing them, but then and impregnating people, presumably. We haven't come across a lab where they could like grow a test tube baby without putting it into a person, so I just don't see, like, even with that, I don't see it working, because I mean, you're gonna have, because like you have them doing all these tests and that, right? So like either they're not having the women trained to be super soldiers, or they have like a specific group of women that they just keep impregnating and popping out babies, but that, like, because obviously when somebody's pregnant, at the beginning they may be able to still do the test and that, but if they're doing like high stress tests like that, that obviously poses a risk of them losing the baby or increases the risk that they lose the baby. And then once they get to further along, they're just not going to be able to do the test, period. Like a woman who's 9 months pregnant isn't going to be running on a treadmill, like, at least not well. Beginning 1 year after initial containment, children over the age of 18 must be removed from the general population. This will be done annually on a date specified by the overseer and chief scientist. It is recommended that this graduation be treated as an important tradition inside Vault 75. Appropriate ceremonies should be conceived of and performed by overseer staff with outgoing subjects being removed one by one from the main living area. Once separated from the general population, subjects with aggregate ratings of excellent and superior are to be escorted to the genomics lab for processing. Subjects with excellent and superior intellect ratings, but not aggregate, will be offered positions as overseer of research staff per discretion of the overseer of chief scientist. All other subjects should be disposed of as outlined in the confidential operations package. Now, the thing about them getting rid of the ones they don't want, instead of just like putting them out into like the wasteland, I can understand, because if they put them out there and they survive, they can come back. So like that part I get. I just don't see them being able to maintain a high enough... Is there nothing to open that? Okay. Oh wow, I wasn't even close to done yet. Worried about the new recruit in science, he's supposed to be on simple observation duties and closely monitored until the subjects he knows in population have been processed. I know we've done this many, many times before, but something about this one feels wrong. Not sure I should have let myself be talked into it. We're having a capacity problem in the nursery. We are as full as we can be in vitro fertilizations, but introducing more residents to the population is going to be problematic. I prefer to wait until the next turnover. We'll have to discuss with chief scientist. So you're telling me that they have enough women that they can put babies in, that they're actually producing more than they're getting rid of? You're telling me they're getting rid of 74% of their population in a good year and producing more babies than their people they're getting rid of? That seems unlikely. Damn it all, some kind of wiring issue caused a fire in the archive. We lost some hardware that I'm told will be difficult to repair, if not impossible. Science lost a lot of the historical research data, though I'm told we can get some junior staff started transcribing hard copies. Some of the locks failed once the fire got bad, worrying, but turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Science staff nearby got in and stopped the blaze quickly. If the locks hadn't failed, then myself or one of the senior scientists would have had to manually open the doors. Status unknown. Genome preservation is online. No callback in a number of days. Generator arrays online. Resident and research vacancy is at 100%. Thank God. Let's open the door. I know I can get experience for picking the locks, but... And let's open the safe. I got some bullets, so that's good. Okay, now this must be the overseer's place. The overseer safe. Why have a safe key and be able to unlock it from the thing? That seems weird. And then there's our Grognak. Critical hits with unarmed and melee attacks permanently do 5% damage.
That one worth reading?
I mean, probably. It's not like you guys have anything else to read, right? I feel like this might be in 2 parts at this point. Like, I feel like we've been down here for a very long time. Okay, let's see. Okay, so this leads us to there. Oh god, that hurt. Come on. And this is this one. Sentinel leather, eh? While standing and not moving. Well, it's worthless, especially since it's on leather. So is... I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about this vault. There's a lot of them where they seem to like go down like the logic paths of like, okay, how could this theoretically work? This one, This one I don't buy. This one I don't see working at all. Because it just, you're not going to be keeping enough population. You're not going to be, I read this one, right? Yeah. Like, you're just not going to be able to keep it up. Because it's like, keep them separated for 15 years before getting them like involved with the population again and that. But yeah, they haven't been involved with them for 15 years, which means that they haven't seen any of the ones that they'll be dealing with outside of maybe if they have some interactions with the babies, right? Because like if they get processed out at 18, right? So depending on at what point they introduce the babies to the population, I mean,
Going up.
yeah, they're still gonna remember how they lived in there and that, though, right?
Ground floor.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't buy this one as being as successful as it sounds. I'm not sure that and I mean, we never even found out if their plan to escape or overthrow them worked. I mean, we know that at some point it went to shit and gunners moved in, but we have no idea if their plan to overtake it actually played out, or if just one day the gunners rolled up and it's like, hey, this is ours now. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, this will probably be 2 parts. I don't know where I'm gonna cut it, but this will be 2 parts because this was over an hour. But yeah, so that was Vault 75, one of the ones that they didn't continue down the path of logic quite enough as they were deciding what happened in it, but that does happen every once in a while with Vault. But thanks everybody for watching, and I will see you on Friday, I guess, for more.